Today we're going to talk about how you can use a continuous swing to find the momentum on your serve and make your movement more fluent and more in sync, that all of the muscles of your body are working together to produce the maximum of power and have a fluent motion. And also reach the intention of having a perfect kinetic chain. In a lot of our previous videos, I've been talking about a pause, I've been talking about the acceleration after the pause, and we have a lot of comments and questions about what is better, to have an actual continuous swing with the momentum or to do that pause and then to accelerate from there. So this video is about how to use the momentum and the continuous swing in order to learn that pause and implement it into the perfect technique. So we'll get right to it. Now, a lot of people, when they're trying to do a loop on their serve and they start from this position, they drop the racket head like this. They just open it up. It feels natural for them to take the racket back this way, and then they're trying to hit from there. Even if they use their upper body rotation, they don't have the pronation and they do not have the bigger loop that can help you accelerate the racket way more. Because again, the faster you can make the racket move, the faster or harder you can hit the ball. It's just natural that the speed of the racket head affects the speed of the ball that you're hitting, whether it's giving it top spin and going more up on the ball, or just slapping it forward and hitting a flat shot. Either way, we want our racket head to move faster. So now, if we just drop the racket head like this way, we literally start from no movement, and we don't even have an option to do the lag. Because if now I pull my upper body, what will happen? Nothing. I'm just pulling my racket. Obviously, you can serve this way if you manage to get your racket up here so that it's closed when you make contact. Otherwise, the ball will just go further out or deep. So now, how do we get to learn this loop, and how do we use the momentum of the movement to implement into our shot? There's one really simple way. I've been showing you a lot of exercises in other videos with the sock, right? So when we're working with the sock, I'm gonna link a video up here. Please watch it. I'm not gonna go through the whole method of working with the sock. I'm just gonna explain to you how we use this momentum in order to then play and hit with a pause. So when we do the full motion with the sock, you have to wait until the sock completes the full loop, right? So when the sock goes back, you have to wait until it completes the full loop, so you know when you have to time yourself in order to start pulling the sock out from behind your back. Obviously, if you're doing it right, you'd be pulling with your left shoulder here to make your right shoulder go up if you're a right-handed player. Now, how do we transfer this with a tennis racket? Just to get a feeling for it, we take the racket with 2 fingers, and now we do the same exercise as we were doing with the sock, and you wait for the racket to drop, and once it drops, you pull it out. And as I said, you turn your upper body, you rotate your upper body, and you make sure it swings. You cannot hit like that in general because you have to hold on tight to your racket to make sure that you can hit hard. So every time when you hold on to the racket loose, it's just for the purpose to learn the natural swing and to feel the natural momentum of the shot. By doing these exercises, when you can fully relax and when you can fully feel the weight of the racket, and when it falls down, at what moment you have to pull it from behind your back, then you can start trying to do the preparation kind of slower, pause, and then you pull it out a little faster. Like this, it's much easier to teach kids at some point to have this momentum and to have their arm going, just to learn the movement. The problem is when you start tossing and when you have to connect all of this to the shot, it's really hard to time this whole swing because it's a really, really big swing. Aside from that, in case of when you're learning, whenever you swing your racket back, it helps you rotate your upper body, just like this, all right? So then you kind of feel natural and you feel comfortable staying in this position when you're about to hit. Again, all of these exercises, they're just meant to get a feeling and to get an understanding of how your body works during the shot so that then you can replicate it in a more efficient movement when you're actually doing it with a ball. So now, whenever you got that feeling and you understand what happens with the loop, you can just put your racket up here, as I showed you before, and now you will not drop it like this and open your racket, but you will just drop it behind your back, and once you feel that it's going down here, you pick it up and you swing with your upper body. So you're staying like this, and then you swing with your upper body. The reality is that this swing over here does not go into the shot when you're actually hitting a ball. This momentum over here does not give you any benefit and does not accelerate your serve in any case. What matters is how fast you rotate your upper body and how well you time yourself when your racket comes from here to hit the ball. That's why even if you do a full motion like this, eventually you have to learn to do this movement slower, then you pause over here, and then you time yourself when you drop your racket, and then you swing. Again, at some point when you have the feeling for the loop, you can make it easier for yourself. You just put your racket over here like this, your arm, you toss the ball up, then you drop your racket head, and you feel the loop, and you can swing from behind your back. Some of you might say that you can use the swing into the shot. Maybe. But for that, you need perfect timing. And if you have wind or any other circumstances that might mess you up, like the sun, it's hard to look up for very long and so on, it might make you more inconsistent. Also, it takes way more repetitions to learn your timing by swinging from here, pausing, and then hitting, rather than taking an abbreviated backswing, tossing the ball, and deciding when you time it. Just to round it up, I would like to repeat the main lesson that we're trying to learn here. When we start with no movement to learn the loop, it is really hard if we don't understand what we're supposed to do. That is why we need to have like a swing. Maybe you start moving your racket like this, then you're trying to drop it, you're catching the momentum. Once you're figuring it out, then you can start, as I said, slowing it down, having a pause, and then eventually you can just put your racket over here, and then you drop it and you hit. All of that helps us to learn the right movement. That doesn't mean that we have to use all of these big swings when we do our actual serve and try to be consistent. There's another thing that you have to remember, that the bigger your swing, the more time you need to prepare for the shot. So that means that your toss has to be higher. If the toss is higher, it is more affected by the wind, and it is much more difficult to be more precise. That is why having an abbreviated backswing makes it easier, because you can toss lower just enough so that you can reach the ball in the highest contact point, and you can be more consistent. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.